The ranch is at the Americana Fest 2023. Now, let's check in with Shayne Hollinger.
Hanging out at Americana Fest, Keegan McInroe, happy release day. Agnes is out there.
Thank you so much. Yes. Happy birthday, Agnes.
So right now it's already gold, I understand.
Yes.
Probably platinum by a couple hours.
It went gold at 12:03 last night. So
what is it like on release day for you?
To be honest, most of the work is done.
Right.
So I still have an album release show next week in Fort Worth, of course.
Right.
So there's a lot to do for that still. But this is about a year's worth of stuff, all kind of like finally coming to a head. So it's really nice to have it done. So that, of course, I had a show now, so I had to prepare for the show a little bit.
Right.
But mostly today's just a day off to hang out and enjoy that it's out there. I mean, it's such a good feeling to look at the physical copy of it, you know. And when you start thinking about the album and you start writing the songs, and then in the back of your mind, you know that someday, soon, not too far out in the distance, theoretically, you'll have this physical copy, you know.
Right.
And so to have that now it's a great feeling. It's really nice to have it out there. It's one of my favorite things to do, making an album, and I'm really proud of this one. So very happy.
So you were talking about, it's a week from today is your album release party.
Yes, sir.
Back in Fort Worth. Tell us about that.
So on September 29th, which is next Friday, we're going to do a show at the Southside Preservation Hall in the Fairmount neighborhood in Fort Worth, in the Rose Chapel there. And Jackie Darlene, Katie Robertson, and Reagan James are going to open up with kind of a in-the-round song circle kind of thing.
Okay.
And then me and the band, which is Aiden Bubeck on bass, Forrest Massey on drums, Morris Holdall on guitar, and Gary Grammer on harmonica.
Oh, wow.
And they all played on the album as well. They all went out to Terlingua and worked with me on the album. And they'll all be there for the show. So it'll be so we'll do the album from front to back for the first set, and then the second set just a bunch of miscellaneous tunes.
Just random stuff.
Just random stuff. Going to get the girls that are the ladies opening up for us, going to get them at different songs in the album, and then get them up again to play some featured stuff in the second set. So
that's gonna
doors at 7, shows at 8. It should be a really good time.
What a fun show that's going to be.
Mama Lou's Kitchen is providing tamales, and we're just gonna have a good time.
So what time do we need to get there?
7 p.m.'s doors.
Okay. We probably want to get there quick.
Yeah.
I should probably head that way now.
You may want to get there now.
Yeah.
You may want to.
That's going to be a fun time. So I've been asking this question of every artist here today because it's a different answer for everybody, and it's and I think that's what makes it interesting. To Keegan McInroe, what is Americana music?
Yeah.
That's the first
It's
thing.
an interesting question because it is a very broad umbrella, but to me, when I think about Americana music, I think about any music that takes its at least part of its roots from the American musical traditions, like the blues, sort of American thing, jazz, even of course country, as we know country, and folk, which of course came from older traditions,
right?
But it's a very American thing. The folk songwriter kind of, the Woody Guthrie and So for me, Americana is anything that falls or that has some sort of roots or branches in one of these very, even rock and roll, of course.
Well, yeah.
Chuck Berry and Buddy Holly and all this stuff. So really just American music that maybe doesn't fit under one of those genres, but maybe shares several of those things. Is kind of how I think about it. But it is, when you say Americana, it could be so many different things.
It's almost
a broad
scary
umbrella
for some people. Like I don't know. Like
Yeah.
We're introducing Americana to our Texas crowd, and for some people, it's the word is almost a put off to them because they're like, I don't understand what that means. And that, I think, to me, honestly, that's the blessing about it. We don't understand what it means. It's because you get to fit into a place where you don't fit in.
Right.
You know, like you're an artist that does all different kinds of genres of music.
Yeah.
We talked about this last album, Agnes, and you thought you were going to go in and do like a more rootsy country album, and it came out pretty bluesy.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like, that's being an Americana artist really gives you the freedom to be able to do what you want to do at that time.
Yeah, Americana just allowed me to fit under an umbrella finally, you know, like because
like we didn't know
there's albums that songs on certain albums are very bluesy, certain songs are very country.
Yep.
But they don't. The album itself typically doesn't fit under a given place, and so you go around, you see some artists here, and they're very, very heavily. I mean, you could put them in country music as easily as you could put them in Americana.
Right.
Some that you could put as easily in the blues as Americana.
Yep.
For me, I love the blues. If I'm playing a blues festival, I'm playing the blues.
Well, yeah.
If I'm playing a country festival, I'm playing country music.
Right.
I mean,
that's what people have come to see.
I'm heavily influenced by the old country greats, and things like that. And so, I love that stuff. If I'm making a record, I'm going to write what comes out.
Right.
And sometimes that's blues, and sometimes it's country, and sometimes it's folk, and sometimes it's a weird spoken word poem with some crazy stuff behind it, and but it makes it difficult to kind of to promote yourself and to do any sort of PR because they want to say, "Oh, well, I love this song. Is this what the album sounds like?" And you say, "Well,
that
no."
one, right?
That one song, yeah.
So, like when somebody walks up to you and like, "What do you do?" Obviously, you're an interesting character. What do you do? I'm a musician. Oh, really? What kind of music do you play?
Yeah. Oh, I play a lot of original stuff, heavily influenced by blues, folk, and country. If I'm writing an email to a venue in Europe, I'll say Texas folk blues.
They love the Texas part.
Yeah,
they
Texas
really do.
Well, and I think the Texas encapsulates the storytelling,
right?
Kind of like some of the country, but a lot of times now, if you say country, even that's become such a big umbrella term.
Right.
It's very difficult. Now you have the different subgenres of country music.
Right.
So if something's red dirt, or if something's Nashville modern, or if, whatever, there's all these different
They're both
and pop
country,
yeah,
different styles of country.
Exactly, and so now even when you say, "Oh, I play country," well, you have no idea what kind of idea that's going to conjure up in somebody's mind.
Right.
It's
Bob Wills or Kane Brown.
Right.
I mean, yeah,
right.
It's completely different.
So as the market becomes more and more saturated, and you start getting these further and further kind of deviations and variations of what would be a typical fit under the very strict kind of a genre thing, and everything starts to expand and get looser. Probably we're it's just going to have more of these kind of blanket terms to kind of find homes for, just to classify how do I share this with a radio station, or how do I share this with a promoter or a magazine or whatever, or a fan, as you said, But I usually mention folk, country, and blues. Those are the three main roots,
So it's hard. The elevator pitch for you is impossible.
It's really difficult.
Like, hang on, we got to go back up and come back down.
Right,
again.
right.
I got more to finish.
That's why the Texas folk blues makes sense for the European
It does,
venues.
yeah.
But in Texas, you just sound like an asshole.
Right,
Sorry, you
it's
sound like a
okay.
jerk.
Yeah,
It
it's a
sounds.
video. We're good.
Oh, okay, cool. You sound a little pretentious,
Right, yes.
or like overly Texan. If you're like, it's a
Texas
Texas folk blues. Well, of course, you're in Texas. It's
Yeah,
like, what other
we
kind
got
of is there?
that part,
But I
right.
think it helps kind of with certainly with Europe, kind of gives it a little bit of a reference point. And like
Right.
you said, there's a whole, for better or worse, and oftentimes both, Texas does have a mystique about it in Europe, where it kind of like, whether you like it or not, some sort of reputation precedes you.
It does.
Going in, and so there's at least a raised eyebrow or something. There's a recognition. If I lived in Rhode Island or Delaware, probably I wouldn't say I have Delaware folk blues, because that it'd be unnecessary.
You'd really say Americana.
Yeah, I would say Americana.
Yeah, and that gives you the ability
Right.
to play anywhere or have your music played
Right.
anywhere. And I think that's the key really for Texas artists.
Right.
Is you can do like a radio station. I'm a radio. We'll talk
Right.
radio. A radio station in Michigan isn't going to be able to say, "Yeah, we're playing Texas country today," and like from people from Michigan
Right.
with their own state pride, it makes them mad. If you say Americana, all right, well we're good with that. We all know
Right.
what that means.
Yeah.
we don't, but we all know what that means.
Well, yeah,
we've heard the
something-
word.
Right. And I think that's kind of like you things become defined by how they're flushed out. And so
Right.
when you throw an Americana Fest and all these people show up, and you walk around and you hear all these great bands and musicians and songwriters and everybody, and you say, "What's Americana?" Well, all of this is apparently,
it's all different.
Right. And even today, there's a great diversity in the kinds of sounds that you're going to hear at the Tennessee Brew Works here.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. And it's all Americana. It all
is.
goes under the umbrella. So it's cool. It's nice to have to have a thing like this, which is kind of getting so much attention and bringing in so many people, and it's kind of growing as a genre,
Right.
because it has been difficult to find a place that makes sense, and under Americana, it's broad, but it's appropriate.
Right.
You know.
Fort Worth artists, how cool is it to have a showcase like this with nothing but Fort Worth artists?
For me, it's great because I have a ton of friends here,
right,
you know,
yeah.
and hopefully for people that are visiting the festival here, they're loving it as well because we have so much great talent, so many wonderful people that are here, so many wonderful people that didn't make it this year. Fort Worth's just full of great artists, and so it's I mean, like I say, for me it's great because I get to hang out with all my buddies that I know, you know, and I get to hear them, and a lot of times, you know, if you're in the same town, you miss each other a lot because this person's got a show the same night you have a show.
And you're right.
So getting to see a lot of them all in the same place. So for me, it's great. I think musically, it's obviously going to be great. And so I know Americana, like the music organization association, seems to be on board because here Fort Worth's involved in everything.
Right.
But it is kind of sidestepping the official showcasing, so I don't know.
Isn't that what we do anyway? So let's be honest.
So I don't know if it's like 100% appreciated, but I appreciate it 100%.
Everybody here appreciates it for sure.
Yeah, they seem to be having a good time down there.
Keegan McInroe, the new album Agnes is out today. He put his baby out into the world. There he goes. Thank you for chatting with us, buddy.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me on
Always
again,
a pleasure.
Shayne. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.